Stephanie is asking, is there a safe way to force unlocking the Ubi potential for someone who is exhausted and with sadly not much free time on hands?
Well, I'm going to give my take on it, you give your take on it.
Sure.
For me, the hardest part, it has to do with you have to be awake when the body's asleep. So you have to do whatever it takes in ways, there's techniques and approaches to be awake when your body's asleep. Because when you're awake and the body's asleep, you're like, you've shifted consciousness. And if you're awake fully, you realize you're not, hey, I'm not in the physical world, but here I am wide awake. It can be a dream, a lucid dream, an out-of-body experience, alternate reality, false awakening, whatever you want to call it. But you have to practice being awake when your body's asleep. And one of the best ways to do that is the wake up, go back to sleep routine. So you go to sleep. I'm not going to give you all a rundown the details of the wake up, go back to sleep technique, but that's one of the best and simplest. So you fall asleep, but then you intend to wake up in the middle of the night, but then you do some stuff and you go back to sleep, but then you want to wake yourself up again. So you might want to do like 3 or 4 wake ups when you could be getting a nice night's sleep. And most people will opt for the nice night's sleep. And the other one is wake up when you wake up early in the morning, like maybe 5 or 6 in the morning, and you got a dream fragment or a little bit of a dream. You write it down in a dream journal. Second best is put it in a recorder, but it's better if you write it longhand with a little notebook on the side. But who wants to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and snap themselves out of that warm and fuzzy and practice being awake and remembering what the hell you just did? Because that's what you're really doing. You're waking up and you remember what you just did. Your memory's in a different plane, a different vibrational memory frequency thing, so it takes more practice for most people. But that would be the fast and furious way to jump in. But it takes willpower, discipline, passion, persistence, all that stuff. Yours?
Yeah. Well, I'm like considering Stephanie's case where, like let's say the person has tons of things to do throughout the day and literally cannot give a priority to working on getting out of body because like take care of the family, other things like work and life and other things. So like if I was like super busy, like Rich says, like I'm noticing like when I am like let's say getting in the middle of the night and I go back to bed, I get tons of ubis in the mornings. So for example, like my thing is like intentionally I drink a lot before going to sleep, so I know that like my bladder will be full and I have to wake up in the middle of the night and just like okay, just going to pee and coming back to bed and I'm gonna fall asleep, but that enough will be good enough for me to like a little wake up. Just like I've been awake, I've touched the walls, I've like the other things. When I go back to bed, it's enough, and boom, I'm out. So that would be like like one of the best things that like is working for me so far. The other ones, I would say sort of like maybe visual technique or simply thought form, but like a lot of times, our actual body is kind of like anchored and holding on to the physical. It's kind of like latched on. So what you can try doing is like simply try to think of your anchor point, like simply like your astral body, just like put it somewhere out in the multiverse, like away from the Milky Way. And it's kind of like your teleportation place, your spawning place where you're going to appear when your physical body falls asleep. And so for me, like that's always like kind of like a pull where like physical body falls asleep, like I just shoot out like, hey, I'm out. So there's that. I guess that would be the thing.
Yeah, there's a whole lot to know about the whole subject, but yeah, I think that covered some of the essentials and the basics.
Yeah.
And if you have really good visuals, there's other techniques you can use. You can use the visuals and then reach into your visualization. Reach for it, withdraw from it, reach for it, withdraw from it. While your body's laying in bed in the middle of the night, and the body will start drifting off to sleep. Well, you're still busy reaching and withdrawing from your visuals. And next thing you know, you're in a lucid dream or you're in a non-physical, visualized environment, out of body.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There are beings out there in the multiverse, like specifically like L-Trans and other races as well, the Golden Crown group and others, who you can actually ask for help and they might pull you out of body, but they too get interfered with. Like, they know like these guys are trying to help you out and then they become the targets from the other side because they're like, no, you ain't gonna pull them out, and then there's like a war going on now. There's also that kind of space opera, but yeah. Zach has a thing he's saying, like, waking my ass up to do dream journaling can be really hard sometimes, like, have to use brute force to slap myself and get out to journal when
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
thing.
It's totally, man, totally. I used to do it a lot, but I don't do it. So
It really
much
it really
anymore.
depends. Like the biggest thing is sort of like people have different ways of learning. Some people need to write it down. Some people need to hear it. Some people need to actively do it, like say it and stuff. Like for me, sometimes if I wake up and I want to record a dream, I'll have my phone or like a recorder, and just click a button and just like mumble, but sort of like keep notes, and that might be a thing as well. If you weren't but like yeah, it's a drag. It's not fun. Like yeah, I'm gonna keep a dream. You're like nah. It's like